generally looks a bit dreary.
It's definitely not a looker.
Across the country, there are people stuck with an embarrassing problem.
You certainly wouldn't drive past and go, oh, I want to live in that house.
It's a very tired house. It feels like it's gone.
And these aren't just the unlucky few. Thousands of us feel burdened with houses that are dated and dreary. But a fresh eye can transform even the ugliest house into a dream home.
I need to make this space exciting to create fantastic drama.
I'm given the owners of some of Britain's ugliest houses the services of some of our most talented architects.
What I strive for, find the heart of the home, and it's just getting that back, getting the kind of the life and soul back.
With money tight,
I'm not hopeful about what we can get for that 50,000.
And ambitions high, delivering a vision that everyone will be happy with won't be easy.
I do have reservations about this.
The client chips away too much of the design. It starts to look very ordinary again.
But if they get it right, it'll prove that great architecture doesn't have to cost the earth.
I actually can't believe that we live in a house like this.
And has the power to transform not just buildings,
It's fulfilled our dreams, really.
but lives.
It's gone from dark to something wonderful.
It's so different.
It's as if someone's lifted our house out and put a new one in its place.
The Vale of Glamorgan in South Wales is the epitome of the rural idyll. Known for its quaint cottages, which naturally nestle in the rolling countryside. Now, in a place as beautiful as this, you'd hope that the architecture would do everything in its power to blend in and avoid the worst design crime of all. To be totally unsympathetic to its surroundings. Like this 1970s house. Complete with its sturdy pebble dash, characterless UPVC windows, and shabby carport. It's not exactly the picture of country living.
I think it's the type of house you would see on any estate in any town. It just generally looks a bit, I guess, dated and dreary. It stands out a bit like a sore thumb because it's a lovely setting where it is.
Some of the neighbours seem equally unimpressed too.
It's an ugly house. It is an ugly house. You know, it's like something you'd see in the 1970s. It's got that dismal, unhappy sort of look, which is such a shame. Pretty miserable, really.
Tony and Sarah bought this house because they want to bring up their daughter, India, in the countryside.
6, 7.
I'm a country girl at heart. I had a lovely childhood full of lovely memories of things we did. Like, I love the fact India already, she loves animals and insects and things like that, and I just think the countryside, there's just so much it can offer a child, especially when they're young. Oh, look, there's one.
When they purchased the property in 2014 for £342,000, it was the only place in the village they could afford of that size. But it still had significant drawbacks. The decor has hardly changed in almost 40 years.
It is quite dated. It's not really a style that we would choose.
There are some things from your childhood which you like to keep, and woodchip isn't one of them. Whoa, look at that.
Unable to live with the outdated features any longer, Tony, a heating engineer and no stranger to the building trade, has already started stripping back the house.
We realised we'd be able to sort of do the basics ourselves.
Coming on quite well, I think, isn't it?
But I think we wanted to achieve more than that, really, and make it a bit more special. This, you know, we want this to be our family house for a long time.
Morning, Sarah, how are you? Hi, Tony, how are you?
Morning,
Nice to
George.
meet you. You are the proud owners of this house.
Very proud.
Do you love it? Tell the truth.
We're on our way.
It's big though.
That's what drew it to us, and big windows and good light.
Yeah. And how do you feel about Pebble Dash?
It's not my number one choice. And I really don't like the brick.
Oh, do you not?
No.
Is there anything that you do like about it?
I like the setting. If you're in and you look out, it's really nice.
I can honestly say, in all the years that I've looked at buildings and houses, I don't think I've heard anyone say about their own house, I don't like much about it, but I like looking out from it. That's quite damning, isn't it? Can we go inside and have a look?
Yep.
Yeah, lead the way. Does the inside look as ugly as the outside? At 1,700 square feet, this house has a generous floor plan. The ground floor has a living dining room, kitchen, shower room and study. Upstairs there are 2 double bedrooms, 2 singles and a bathroom. Interesting ceilings. You stripped them out already?
Stripped them out already, yeah, to make a mess.
Why have you done that?
Wood chip.
You can really see the potential. I think it's one of the good things about houses at this period. A lot of them, the space standards were really good. I mean, this is a nice wide room. You've been able to see all the way through those big windows from front to back. So this is a little mini kind of dining area, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So what's the kind of main problem with this space, do you think?
Well, through there, the garage, then the only access to the garden.
There are a few boxes in there, look at that. But for your daughter to run through this space, past all the boxes, navigate past the washing machine dryer. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Nice little patio area.
Yeah, it matches the driveway, wraps around the house.
It's just kind of in the wrong position, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your inside-outside space is linked in between garage and patio.
Yeah.
Which is kind of not ideal, is it really?
It takes the charm off.
Having such a kind of sloping garden makes you feel even more detached from the house, really, doesn't it?
Right, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, in terms of the size of it, I think it's great. I mean, it's a really good size house. If you think this would have been built at a time which would have been, yes, a little bit aspirational, but it had to be affordable as well. And when you think now, minimum space standards don't really exist in those new build developments. So they tend to be quite pokey and small unless you're paying an absolute fortune for it. You've got yourself a really good sized house. This project presents a huge challenge. For just £60,000, Tony and Sarah want to completely reimagine their home. Now, yes, it's solidly built with wonderful proportions, but it has one fundamental problem. It doesn't connect with its surroundings. Transforming it into something beautiful with a genuine sense of place on a very limited budget is going to require a brilliant piece of design. And that's the job of an architect. Greg Blee has a talent for designing buildings that reflect their surroundings. His approach has led to the creation of some radically dramatic spaces.
This house is called Triptych because it's got 3 volumes that are exactly the same and they face in different directions. The kitchen faces the morning and the living room faces the evening, so you can enjoy the setting sun coming through the trees. Architecture for me is about lots of different problems and trying to create a solution that is very simple, very elegant, and I think that's a really difficult task.
But to prove a solution can always be found, even for an ugly house, Greg has volunteered to take on Sarah and Tony's home.
What we want to do is create an extension that really takes in the Welsh countryside and to not just feel like a conventional building. So the big idea is to take a shard-like extension which faces the best views and then put that against the existing house it'll feel great when you step into that space because you'll be surrounded by a lot of windows, so you'll have the connection with the greenery of the landscape outside. It's going to be unusual to take that sort of building and put it next to a boring box, but I think it needs to have that sort of sense of drama and excitement.
I think Greg has a really distinctive style and a strong sense of place. But I suppose the big question is, will his vision fit in with what Tony and Sarah have in mind, and will it fit in with the Vale of Glamorgan? This looks well impressive.
Yeah. Shall I show you around your new house? Yes, do. Okay. What I'm proposing is a shardy extension. It creates this elegant piece of architecture, and we're thinking about untreated timber for the facade, which will make it more of a sort of whole. Because at the moment you've got lots of different materials sort of fighting each other, and none of them are particularly nice.
Greg's plan for the house is based around 3 key design ideas, which will help it reflect its surroundings. His first idea is to convert the garage into a dramatic dining room extension to connect the inside to the garden. The cleverly designed triangular roof will rise steeply to a point to give the internal space volume and height. Placing the extension at 45 degrees to the house with large sliding doors means it will also face the countryside views. Inside, most of the internal downstairs walls will be removed to create a large open-plan kitchen living area. Greg's second big idea is to replace the glazing at the rear of the house with 2 new feature windows, one long and horizontal and the other floor to ceiling, perfectly framing the landscape. His final transformative idea is to clad both the extension and top half of the house in larch that will silver with age, helping the house blend in with its surroundings. It's dramatic, there's no doubt about that.
It's impressive, isn't it?
I think the extension we're pretty much 100% happy with.
We'd already thought about things like untreated timber, greys and silver, that's the kind of look I like. Any question I'd have, I guess, thinking practically, is I don't know where the money is being spent at the moment. I feel like I don't know what's being spent on what.
I have to say, I share Sarah's concerns. For £60,000, this does seem an extremely ambitious design.
I'm really excited by it, and I think it could be amazing, but I'm really worried about the costs. I don't want to do it and then it to feel half-hearted that we've gone for it.
Can I ask you, how finished do you imagine the house being with your 60 grand?
It doesn't have to be all decorated.
I suppose what I'm getting at is you might end up spending a bit more money on the structural changes to get the spaces that you really want, and then you might put in a more affordable kitchen, a very basic bathroom. You might have your bedroom done, and the other ones you might not fit out at all. And that's quite a big decision for you guys to make, actually, and whether that's acceptable. As an architect, you relish the chance to create something bold and unique, and you hope that you'll have a client who's brave enough to back your decisions. Now, I do think Tony and Sarah are willing to take a leap of faith, but I wonder what a wooden box with a wooden pyramid will look like in this landscape. In Wales, Tony and Sarah have been granted planning permission to transform their bland 1970s house.
It's kind of like a house a child would draw, I think. Kind of, there's windows, doors, flat, there's no features. It's just a bit dreary.
In the 1970s, houses like this were rolled out in their thousands across the country by developers. Their standardised no-frills design made no attempt to reflect their surrounding environments. They were branded Anywhere houses. Over the years, they attracted criticism for their distinct lack of character.
Oh, go on then, try again. Go on then.
Now for Tony and Sarah, there's a new development on the horizon that will affect the schedule of their transformation.
Oh, look at that, it's just on the edge.
I'm pregnant now, 4 months pregnant, so that puts a bit of a new perspective on it.
It was just the thought that we hadn't made any start, and we've got 6 months, or now we've got 5 months to go. We don't expect to be perfectly immaculate finished, but we just want to get going on it.
To ensure the build's ready for the baby and keeps within the £60,000 budget, Tony will project manage.
I intend to do as much as I can myself.
Wrong wall.
But I mean, I won't have a go at skimming the ceilings because I'll be poor. I won't have a go at doing nice carpentry. I won't be connecting electrics, but I'll be doing as much as I can, drilling holes and chasing sockets and things. You know, every little helps.
It takes Tony and his team just one day to take down the downstairs interior walls and create the new open plan living space.
That looks really good. I really like it. It's nice. You get that nice feeling as you walk in. Yeah, that's really cool.
One key element of architect Greg Blee's design that Tony can't tackle is the unconventionally angled rear extension.
Just want to gently prise this away. It starts by here, but I want to get it from that end, really, if I can.
But he does manage to find a local builder brave enough to take on the ambitious project.
That's it. It's popped. It is quite a difficult build because of the angles and the complexity of it. Nobody else seemed interested, and I like a challenge, I think. Yeah, exactly.
What makes this even more challenging is that builder Neil has only got a 2-month window.
Centre? Centre.
Which means he's forced to start before the technical drawings are ready.
That's got to come over, so that's like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that one there moves to there. Okay.
And with this complex build, relying on the exact positioning of 5 steels, it proves far harder than expected.
Hopefully this will all line up now.
It's all funny angles. They're not equal lengths. You think you get it right, then you get a centre point on the concrete, drop the beam in, and then you take actual lengths of beams and it isn't right.
It's been a slight chicken and egg situation where the builders pushed them into getting on site before we'd had full engineers' drawings, before we had full detailing. And so it was a risk.
With Tony and Neil struggling with the complexities of the design, architect Greg has come to site.
So 2 posts in, they look level?
Right now.
All right, mate. How you doing?
How you doing? Good
Nice
to meet you. You're right.
All right.
Is this all going to work out then, our setting out of this ceiling coming through?
I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, this has been difficult because normally we have the drawings up front, you know, the calcs, measurements, i.e., and this has been unusual for us because we haven't had that information.
That's the reason why I'm here. If there's anything that we need to work out, we work it out here, and if anything needs to be drawn, we draw it.
Right.
Once we get a skeleton,
Yeah.
it will be plain sailing.
1, 2, 3, 4.
With Greg on hand to advise,
Gently does it.
the project gets moving again.
Ready?
Yeah, I'll lift it.
This large horizontal steel will provide support for Greg's soaring triangular roof.
Well, that was easy, wasn't it?
Well done.
Well done, guys. Well done, thank you. I've got an hour.
Get the other post in, let's get the other one up.
Really? You think it's as easy as that, do you?
No.
Crack on then.
It's going to feel a big, voluminous, exciting space to be in. I know that. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
An extension is where a good architect can make a massive difference to a property. Not only do they provide more internal space, with a bit of ingenuity, they can also transform the look of a traditional building. Even the most modest extension can revolutionize a living space. But the secret is in the placing of it.
The issue with this house, it doesn't have a very good relationship with the orientation, i.e. north, south, east, west, and to the landscape.
Greg's extension has a footprint of just 8 square meters. But by giving it height, the interior space will feel bigger and more dramatic. Removing the old kitchen wall will connect it to the rest of the house. By positioning the extension at 45 degrees, it faces the long view down the garden to the landscape beyond. Tony and Sarah's extension has such an unconventional shape. It's going to be really difficult to construct. But it's so exciting to see the bones of a new building coming together. I can't wait to see what it looks like. Morning, mate. How's it going? You all right? Good morning, mate. How are you?
Morning, George.
So good to see you. How's it all going?
Yeah, come on in, have a look.
Oh, look who's here. Looking very, very pregnant, which is great news. Fantastic. As if you didn't have enough going on.
No, the timing's not great, is it really?
No. The space looks brilliant. It really does, because you're looking cleanly all the way through here. You've taken out that wall. So from front to back, you're looking right through the house. What's it like to live in at the minute? Be honest.
It's hard because of the dirt. In the shower, it's just always got gravel and grit. And I worry about India because she wants to wear shoes and socks and things.
But it's the dust. I can actually feel it on the back of my throat.
Baby's going to come out with like a really deep voice.
Yeah.
Although still a building site, this space holds real promise. Greg's keen to show me how the new part of the build is progressing. Greg, the extension is starting to go. Slabs in, steelwork's gone up.
Yeah, it's like a mini church.
Obviously, you've got a big bit of steel in there, steel across the back of there.
So
is it a flat roof? Or?
Well, this gives a slightly false impression, so it feels like a little boxy triangular extension, but actually that's stick. It's the maximum height. So when you're in this very sort of wedgy corner, you've got 4.3 metre high ceiling. So you'll come out from the kitchen and you'll feel that sense of excitement looking up.
So when you're standing inside, it's a big kind of triangular sloping piece of roof going right up to the top.
Yeah, quite complicated. Good luck to the builder.
With the steel framework complete, Builder Neil can now start to piece together the bespoke timber frame.
Oh, made a mistake, Neil.
What he first thought would be an interesting challenge is turning into a bit of a headache.
Oh, this is going from bad to worse. We're under pressure a bit because everything we do, we have to make bespoke because there's nothing traditional. This timber alone is 6 different cuts, 6 different angles. It's just evolving, really, isn't it? You know, there's no template, it's just all funny angles. Oh, labour of love.
Oh, I know.
You're going to sit there with him? Or?
You're going to come and watch you eat breakfast. Baby Arlo came last week, so he's nearly a week old now. Well, perfect, aren't you? He's been great. He's a really chilled little baby. He sleeps constantly at the moment, so had a nice break into having the 2 children at the moment. What a big, look how big you are. Look how tall he is.
He's amazing. He's sleeping through all the noise. We've had carpenters above him with rip saws, with the roof coming off. And he's just amazing to sleep through. So we've been really, really blessed.
What's the matter? What's the matter? It is weird because there's 2 massive events, I guess, going on. But then also, obviously, a priority at the moment is the baby in India. I try and help where I can with decisions, but I feel a bit sorry for Tony sometimes. Like, for instance, last night at about 10 o'clock, he was like, oh, you need to choose skating boards. And I was like, really? I'm so not interested this time. I'm about to fall asleep. So I'm probably not as helpful to him and supportive.
But Sarah has helped Tony make one significant decision: to replace the concrete tiled roof with slate so that it ties in more with the brand new extension. This unplanned £5,000 addition and other escalating costs is pushing them well over budget.
We would have spent our budget and the house would have looked exactly the same as it did, but with a timber-clad extension that didn't look like any of the rest of the house. In our heart, we felt like we had to, but it was a big, okay, right, so this is costing this. We're over budget, let's spend even more. That's what it came to, basically. But once the headache of the money is over, we're left with a great finish. We might think it'll be worth it. I just want to... Oh, no.
Tony and Sarah's new slate roof is finally complete.
We have blown the budget a bit, but it's a big pleasing thing to have.
But it's the dramatic new angular extension that's attracting the attention of some of the neighbours.
From here, we can see a triangle that's coming up off the side of the house. It's quite wacky. It's pretty different. Kind of thing you can put together with a bit of Lego house, you know, having a square and a triangle coming off the side. And looking at it, it's like, oh God, that's a bit bonkers, a bit different. I didn't notice at first, but there's quite an interesting roof structure around the back of the property. Certainly nothing around here looks like that.
1, 2, 3, go.
Today, work begins on Greg's second key design idea.
You have to lift, you have to lift.
His relatively simple plan for the windows has already resulted in them knocking out a large opening to make room for the picture window in the living room.
With these windows, it's really been difficult to see how it's going to look, the light, what the view's going to be. So these windows going in, very exciting.
Marcus, your end.
The way architects harness light can totally transform a space. But windows are not just there to allow light in. They can also frame the view, connecting the inside to the outside. In Tony and Sarah's house, Greg has replaced the old UPVC windows at the front with slim-framed aluminium ones.
So the front may look very simple, but then if you look at the back, you want to create bigger windows, which make the connection from the inside to the outside more impressive.
Greg is replacing the old conventionally shaped windows at the back of the house with two strikingly different versions to create uninterrupted views of the landscape.
All right.
Get in.
It's great, isn't it? I feel like I could stand here and survey my land, which is this small bit of grass.
Right. Gently and easily, yeah?
Back a bit, back a bit. Back to you.
Clear that.
With the glass fitted into the extension sliding doors
I'm in there. You all right?
Get in.
and the large picture window in the living room, the builders begin installing the horizontal frame in the kitchen, giving Tony and Sarah the first chance to check out their newly watertight extension.
Wow.
No, it's nice being able to see the hills and stuff over there. Let me see it from back here.
Imagine you sat down at the dining table. Having your dinner. Look at the view.
Tony and Sarah have spent a quarter of their £60,000 budget on new glazing. So I'm keen to see the difference that it's made. Extensions all up, which is good. But this looks fantastic. What a great extension with the lovely sloping roof. This all needs a bit of work, doesn't it? Tiny bit,
Yeah,
to say the least. Hello there.
Hello.
So nice to see you. How are you?
Very well, thank
Hey,
you.
look at this little one. You are so cute. So beautiful, eh? Bit of a challenge. Baby, bills, the two Bs that you should never do at the same time. But I'll tell you what, these windows make a massive difference. Look at the amount of light coming in through there.
I know, it's a really nice little sun trap here. I actually fell asleep on the floor the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, with the baby.
Did you really?
And just because it was so sunny and nice. It was the only place that had any sun was just by here.
You fell asleep with a little pool of light in the window. That's quite sweet. And I think this picture window is lovely. It's just brilliant to lift up that sill height, to get it up to that level, so that all your units can just be underneath. And you can stand there in the kitchen with that fantastic view, can't you? Really good. You just need a kitchen.
Yeah,
And
that'd be handy.
actually, there's quite a lot to still do in here. You know, you want to get the floor finishes done, you want the walls all done. The ceiling, obviously, you've started boarding out now, which is fantastic. But you've got all that to do.
Yeah.
And everything else to pay for. That's And how's the outside looking?
Membrane on.
It looks good,
Scaffolding up.
isn't it? I mean, as a shape, I think it looks fantastic. How are you feeling about the builds generally, be honest?
I think I've got over the shock of how much it's actually going to cost us. Because for a little while you realise it's not going to come in budget.
How much have you spent?
I think we're looking 64
64,000 to get to this stage.
to this stage. Plus it's money set aside for things that haven't been done yet.
How much money have you got left?
Not enough paper in the kitchen, even.
Where are you going to borrow the money from to finish it?
Credit cards and whatnot. You really don't want it. I mean, it's a terrible way of borrowing, isn't it? But you can't not finish the project. Otherwise, you'll just spend a lot of money and you still won't have something that you like.
So you're making a big financial commitment and stretching yourself
It
now
is, yeah.
to just get it done.
Yeah. Because if you're happy and you spend the money, it helps, doesn't it?
So far, most of the build time has been spent creating the new extension. But 6 months in, the old house is about to be transformed by Greg's final big idea.
What we're going to do is we're going to take this very boring box and we're going to take the top section, which is from pebble dash, and batten it out in some really fine larch cladding. And the larch will be untreated, so over time it will go silver grey. At the base, which is red at the moment and isn't very responsive, if you like, to the landscape, we're going to paint it very dark. And what that will mean is that that will become recessive, which will make the top section, this sort of very fine clad building, look like a floating element in the landscape.
Wooden cladding is an effective way of giving an exterior an individual facade. Just like stripes on clothing, the direction in which it's laid changes its effect. Thanks to laser technology, fine detailing can be created on materials such as weathered steel or aluminium alloy to dramatically clad a building on a large scale.
The cladding is right up there in the top 3 of exciting things that we wanted to do for the house. So it's a big transformation today.
You keeping your timber flush there? Yeah.
But it's quite tricky. It's got to line up with the corner and the window and evenly spaced. And you want the screws to line up nice on the buttons, so all the screws line up. It's got to be pre-drilled. So it's just tricky.
But before the builders can begin to fix the new cladding, the uneven wall surface is posing a problem.
When we come and had a look at the walls originally, they looked quite straight. But they're a lot worse than what we've originally thought. So it's going to be a long day today.
the horizontal battens are having to be packed out in order to create a flat surface onto which the cladding can be attached.
It's okay. It's a challenge. Pain, but all good.
After several hours of packing out, they're ready to start.
Jeff, you want to jump up here with me? Check the bottom before you come up.
This is the first bit of luck. I'm still a bit nervous. Because you never know what it's actually going to look like.
Designing something so bold might seem an odd way of getting a building to reflect its setting. But I've got something to show Tony and Sarah to reassure them that it can be done.
So guys, I've brought you to see a house which, it looks very grand from the outside. It's a bigger place than yours. Slightly different period. This is a 50s house rather than the 70s one. But the main reason for bringing you here is when you look at this, it's obviously a fairly traditional building in its style and taste. The difference though between the front and the back is quite unbelievable. Wait until you see this extension. Come on. Now what I love about this place is that you come in through the front door and you think, yeah, I get it. It's kind of a straightforward semi-period house. And then you walk into the kitchen and turn and see that.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
No, it's a surprise, isn't it?
Come and have a look at the outside. See what you think of this.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah.
It's radically different in materials. I mean, completely. You've gone from render on the main house to full-on steel, glass and timber on the extension. I mean, as you walk around it, you'll realise just how dramatic this thing is, to be honest. But this is all about the garden. It's all about getting the house to link to the outside more.
Yeah, where it's landscaped, it really does bring it all in as part of it, doesn't it?
And you've got to think about that with yours. Is there anything in particular that you would take from this onto yours?
For me, it's the difference between the house and the extension.
They're not trying to tie it in too much.
I'm not trying to tie it in too much. Because you could easily make it look all one colour. And it is a bit different in its shape. Is that enough? I don't know. I'm really pleased with that. When I left this morning, there were 5 pieces up. Come back and there's like 50 up. I'm far happier about the way it looks. Now I can see more. Yeah, it looks nice. It looks nice and clean and sharp, like the detail with the tiles at the top. I can't wait to see it on the extension as well. It's going to look really striking.
It'll cost £7,000 to clad the entire building. But even with just the side elevation complete, it's already possible to see how Greg's simple idea will help this home sit more comfortably in its surroundings.
I just like a house that blends in to its environment a bit more. Blended in, hidden away. You know, you spend all this money and no one sees it.
Over the next 2 weeks, the builders clad the extension and entire upper half of the house. To address the lack of symmetry on the front facade, Greg has creatively designed the cladding to partially cover the middle window.
Right.
I think it just doesn't look quite right.
I think it looks better inside than outside, but...
I think it looks as if we've just stuck some wood on, but it's not really been planned. Then it's just a shame it obscures the view.
We're just opening a can of worms, I think, changing that. It's not simply, oh, we just moved this bit of wood.
I think it looks a little bit like we've got bars, like a prison window.
Although they decide to remove Greg's bars from the window, Tony and Sarah do go with his idea to paint the lower half of the house grey to help highlight the wooden cladding.
Before it was painted, it was just dated, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
It was
think
like-
it's a real... It's like an easy modern update, isn't it? Painting the bricks.
Yeah, it's easy when someone else does it as well. So it's nice. It's even easier.
Are you ready?
As the house nears completion on the outside, Tony races to finish the inside.
I've had 6 or 7 months off, and I can't sustain that. I have enjoyed it a lot, but I've got to go back to work to pay for it, really. But it's hard to let it go, especially near the end now. It's these final details which make the difference, isn't it, really? The bits you see after all.
For you.
Oh, thank you.
Look, Daddy.
At the moment, we're pretty much confined to living in 2 rooms upstairs, which is quite hard work, especially with the baby sleeping. So it's going to be a massive relief, really, when it's finished at last and we can get back to being a family and actually doing things together and talking about something other than the house would be nice.
Tony and Sarah moved here because they had a dream of living in the countryside, but they ended up in an ugly suburban box that seemed completely out of place to the surrounding landscape. It was as if their house was in a 1970s time warp, covered in ugly pebble dash, with bland UPVC windows and a scruffy carport. For just £60,000, architect Greg Blee promised to transform their 1970s house into something beautiful and unique that would celebrate the surrounding landscape. I can't wait to see if he's pulled it off. Now that is pretty incredible. In fact, it's beyond incredible. I can't actually believe they've done it. It looks fantastic. Architect Greg Blee has truly made his mark on this building. With a combination of darkly painted brickwork and large cladding, the house now fits seamlessly into its surroundings. Good morning. So good to see you. How are you? So how are you? Lovely to see you. Are you well?
Very well, thank you.
This looks fantastic, doesn't it? It is so good. So good. And you've done it. You've absolutely done it. You must be thrilled.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I mean, compared to what it was like before, I hope you don't mind me saying it was a fairly ugly box.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
And look at it now. What a transformation. It looks contemporary, modern, slick. So it must be a slightly different approach coming home.
Yeah, you appreciate the drive up and it peeps out from behind the trees, and sometimes if I've got the time I even sit there looking at it. I feel really proud of it.
Should we go inside and have a look?
Yeah.
The interior of the property proved just as challenging to transform as the exterior. The layout of the living room and kitchen left a lot to be desired. The garden was inaccessible except through the garage, and the rear windows made little use of the stunning views from the back of the house. Oh, this looks very, very smart. Oh, look at that, it's fantastic. By reconfiguring the dysfunctional ground floor, Greg's created a beautiful open-plan living area and kitchen that just invites the wonderful outside in. Unrecognisable as a space.
It's great.
I actually feel like I'm in a completely different house. It's flooded with light. Look at it.
These windows dramatically changes the space, I think. Because it's south facing, they get all the light coming through. That's purposefully, we didn't put a solid wall in there. We wanted it to be a little bit of divide, so they were separate spaces, but so we can get all that light all the way through the house then.
And all the finishes are really smart. I love this ceiling that you've built in.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Style
mean, this
pictures,
is
isn't it?
just really cool. I mean, it's like, it's kind of, you just sit here, a cup of tea, and look at that picture window. all you can see is green. But the breathtaking views are not unique to just the living area. The bespoke picture window in the kitchen is clever and stylish. This kitchen, I'm staggered by. With your budget, to have done something at this level that looks this good is unbelievable.
When it comes to the interior,
Yeah.
especially the kitchen, I chose everything, so I feel really proud of this bit. And I love this window as well. I'm so glad Greg pushed us to have that. I love the way it frames the view.
And more than anything, the kitchen is absolutely the heart of the home now. The fact that you've got the extension basically means this really is.
It really is in the middle.
Bang in the middle.
I love as well that you can look all the way down, especially if you're sitting in that area there. It's got a lovely view all through the kitchen
All
into
the way
here.
through. So the last time I was here, the extension was looking fairly unfinished.
But triangular.
But very triangular, I'll give you that. Can I go and have a look? It's the bit I'm more excited about than anything else. Yeah?
Yeah.
The new extension to the back of the house is undoubtedly the most striking element of Greg's design. This triangular room is a triumph and effortlessly opens up the house to the garden. That is fabulous. What a space. That ceiling lifting up like that, to be right up at that point, which is 3 and a bit metres high. It's like being in a little chapel.
Yeah, it's like, it's not just an extension, is it? It's just a space that stands alone, I think.
You know, if this was a flat level ceiling running through here, yes, it would still be an interesting shape, but it would be nowhere near as dramatic as this. And I'll tell you what, to sit here on a morning, have a cup of tea, with that view is pretty special. I knew inside that this would look dramatic and smart, but I was slightly worried about the timber cloud pyramid look from outside.
That looks really great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good, lead the way. From the garden, the soaring extension is a genuinely dramatic addition to the box-shaped property. The angles just all work, don't they? It really does, and the extension makes your garden space much more intimate the way it reaches out.
It wraps around.
All of those internal spaces are becoming part of the surrounding landscape, aren't they?
Yeah, because I think when we bought it, how it was very much out of context, and really it could have been plonked anywhere. And now it just really fits in the landscape. Yeah, the interesting shapes just makes it really distinctive, but still kind of blend.
I think you're right. That little extension just transforms everything to do with the house. It turns it from something ordinary, ugly, into something beautiful.
But actually building it was not a
beautiful
experience.
issue.
No.
Issue.
I know it wasn't easy to do it, but all that hard work and effort makes this look effortless.
You dream about having a place like this. You know, most people want a nice house, and there's nice, and then there's this.
I feel very lucky.
Yeah, I feel very lucky. Yeah. Should enjoy it.
So you should. I have to say, Greg's design is truly remarkable.
Evening.
Mr. Greg.
It's looking amazing.
He's created a modern home that the whole family can enjoy, as well as giving the house a real sense of place. What was it like working with an architect for the first time?
Well, it gives us an opportunity to have something that we just couldn't imagine ourselves.
Yeah. I think we always trusted Greg that we would do something really good, but until you actually see it at the end, then you think, yes, it is amazing.
Greg, that's quite powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels very mixed emotion because I know how tough these type of projects are, especially if you're doing most of it yourself. You look around and you see the love and care and attention, and I think that's to do with the energy that these guys have put in, but also it's just to do with the alchemy of the client architect.
So Tony, tell me about self-build. Come on, what was it like?
Every day there was something that's stressful, but when it's finished, it's worth it. Really. So I would do it again, but not immediately.
What was the hardest part for you, do you think?
Just having no family life, probably. I hated hearing myself saying, not now, I'm busy. I think that's been the hardest part.
It's all consuming.
Yeah, it is. And I think it has to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as good as it was.
Can we talk about money? Original budget was how much again?
60.
Yeah, you tell me.
£60,000. And what did you spend in the end?
85.
Still, £85,000, I know it's a lot of money, but when you look what you've got, it's mind-boggling.
I'm glad during the build it was stressful and everything we were kind of like, oh, should we do that, should we not? But I'm really glad now that we pushed ourselves to spend that extra bit. We wouldn't have fulfilled the potential of it if we have had another on that extra step.
I don't think you could have done anything more with this house. You can't make it, I don't think you can make it any better than it is. I think that's it. Happy with that.
At the start of this project, Tony and Sarah were living in an anywhere house that had no real connection to the place. And I suppose because of that, they felt that they didn't belong either. But because of Greg's imagination and brilliant design, and also because of Tony and Sarah's bravery and their tenacity, they've transformed an ugly house into the most unique and distinctive home. This house doesn't just sit in the landscape, it adorns it. Next time, urban architect
It's pretty good the clients aren't here.
meets suburban semi.
This is our house now. Certainly not what I envisaged. He's obviously used to working with huge budgets.
I can't wait to see what your neighbours think.
So that's next Thursday at 8. Later, are we boring in bed? I don't think so. Channel 4 has commissioned the Great British Sex Survey to reveal the top 10 kinks at 10. But next up, the sex kittens of comedy return. Cats do count down.